What's up YouTube, Zazubaar here. Well, last week we had a look at the disaster piece Reptilian. Like I said, the film was a remake of a 1967 Korean monster movie, and it was obviously trying to capitalize on the box office success of the Showa-era Godzilla series. However, as guilty as it was sticking its hand into the kaiju jar, it was in no way alone. It was obviously joined by cult classics like Gamera, Reptilicus, and Gappa, even though those movies are like Oscar winners compared to Yongari and its remake. However, there is one other monster movie that was indefinitely inspired by the success of the original Godzilla film, since it was made at a time when there really was no Godzilla franchise. The film I'm going to be reviewing today was released a year before King Kong vs. Godzilla, and again, that was technically the film that started the 60s monster mash genre. So anyway, if you haven't guessed, I'm going to be reviewing the British kaiju film Gorgo. The movie is probably the first that can be labeled as a Godzilla knockoff, because I mean, look at the title and the poster for the original Godzilla, and then look at Gorgo. But in my opinion, Gorgo brings itself out of just being a knockoff, and I think develops its own sort of style. So in other words, yeah, I really like this movie. I mainly saw it because it reminded me of Godzilla, but since the first time I saw it, I knew that it was more than just a knockoff. Don't agree or believe me? Well, just look at pop culture. Gorgo has had its own following over the course of almost 50 years since its release. Gorgo's had his own comic book series, toys, and an episode on Mystery Science Theater 3000, which gave way to a short comedy film which is sort of a sequel to the original, called Waiting for Gorgo. I would talk more about that, but I haven't seen it yet, and when I do, I'll most certainly review it. Anyway, so Gorgo's plot revolves around a European salvaging ship who specializes in bringing up lost treasures and artifacts from sunken ships for a price. While they're in the water looking for treasure, I guess, a frickin' volcano explodes. And again, they're in the ocean. Look, I'm no geologist or whatever, but I passed Earth Science, and I don't remember answering an oceanic volcano question on the test. Anyway, so the ship breaks down near a small island called Nara Island. Some sources say that the name of this island was chosen because it's the name of a city in southern Japan. Obviously a little wink to the Godzilla series. But anyway, they go ashore to get help, but receive a lukewarm reception from the islanders. But they do get directions from someone to where the harbor master lives. So they figure out where the harbor master, as he's called, lives, but he doesn't want them on the island regardless of the condition of their ship. So our two main characters, who I forgot to mention are names Joe and Sam, welcome to Blind Names 101, both doubt his story, and guess what? They were right. The harbor master is just hiding gold and other treasures he doesn't want any competition for. Joe and Sam find out about it, however, when they pull up a dead diver who's holding gold. But anyway, they themselves go down looking for it. However, all they find is what looks to me like a giant rock trying to drown itself. However, it makes Joe and Sam shit themselves in fear, and they go up to confirm each other's sanity. The two then get some ideas about threatening the harbor master, about telling other captains about the gold, thus ending his current chain of bringing the gold up using the islanders. This whole plot thread with the gold is actually some pretty good filler until Gorgo makes his first appearance. I mean, all monster movies have this sort of thing, and it's great that this filler is actually entertaining. What also supports it is the actually likable characters. The characters sort of remind me of some of the sailors from the original King Kong. And Joe reminds me a lot of Carl Denham. He's really just looking for a way to get rich and famous, but he still has a good heart. As Joe and Sam are returning to their ship, Gorgo finally shows up and attacks the island. However, he's only about 60 feet tall and really doesn't do much to threaten the town. Also, you want to know how they get him to leave? They throw flaming pieces of wood at it. Wow, some dinosaur, more like a Pussyosaurus. Anyway, so the monster leaves and Joe gets an idea. If they kill the monster for the harbor master, he'll probably be willing to compensate for it. So they agree to kill the monster for him and start immediately. However, Sam gets the idea that they should try and capture it alive and take it back to the world with them to make even more money. These guys remind me of frickin' Dick Cheney. So using a one-man submersible, Joe goes down to try and find the monster. He does, but is attacked and things really don't go as planned. The monster ends up tangling itself in the nets, however, and Gorgo is finally captured and brought back to England. They want to make him a circus attraction and display him to scientists and the public. This is where I think the film takes inspiration from King Kong. So, like I said, so in the end, it's kind of like a mix between both Godzilla and the King Kong films. And if you don't believe me, they call Gorgo the 8th wonder of the world, which was King Kong's subtitle. After making truckloads of money on the monster, they are warned by some scientists that Gorgo is actually a very young infant of its species, and that it's almost certain that there's a larger one near Narrow Island. And sure enough, late one night, Big Mama Gorgo destroys Narrow Island and kills all the islanders. At the same time, the small boy who I mentioned earlier, whose name is Sean, has built up a fascination for Gorgo and feels sorry for him. So he keeps trying to convince Joe to release him back to the sea with his mother, who has been fighting the English Navy. So following the trail of the younger Gorgo, Big Mama continues crushing the English Navy and making her way towards London to save her baby. Now it should be noted that about 20 minutes worth of this military battle scenes were actually removed from the director's version of the film. The studio made him film these scenes to make a bigger buck. Even though they're not bad, all the originality and style the rest of the film has is sort of lost in these scenes. It doesn't make much sense how Gorgo is indestructible and why she's so unstoppable. Isn't she just a dinosaur? Anyway, once Big Mama Gorgo reaches shore and starts destroying the city, the film starts to get really good. This is undeniably the best part of the movie and really has a good impact once it's over. The scene has a pretty effective message about how man's technology is unable to deter the raw power of Mother Nature, and I think it's pretty well done here. Sure, the rest of the film has nothing like that, and it's seriously downplayed by the gruesome scenes of people getting crushed, trampled, and burned, but regardless, I think this was the first movie to really capture that sense of Mother Nature being seriously more powerful than man. Sure, Godzilla had that too, but it was more or less what happened when man changed Mother Nature. This film is more like if you steal from a giant mother dinosaur, you get crushed. Well, anyway, the last scene of epic destruction is also a great display of 60s suitimation and miniaturization. When I first saw this, I had no idea how great the effects would be for the time. I mean, wow, this is on par with Sabraya's work. I know without him, the form of effect would have never been perfected, but still, I'm taking my hat off to the Brits for such great work. Gorgo really looks cool too. The design is like nothing I've seen before. Those ears that flap kind of remind me of like King Caesar or Baragon from the Godzilla series. Also, those red reptilian eyes are extremely intimidating and only add to the monster's realism. Overall, these are some creature effects that really give you more bite for your buck. The only real downside to Gorgo is that she has no energy attack like most kaiju did at the time. However, even though it's sort of disappointing, I think it only adds more to the realism of the monster and makes her have to use more brutal tactics. So overall, this is a great monster movie. The plot's good filler, the monster is great, the effects are great, and overall the acting and characters aren't too bad either. My only real complaint is sometimes it's a little slow and the pacing is sometimes a little ill-balanced. But overall, I highly recommend this movie to anyone who's a monster movie buff, and to any parents who have a youngster around the house who likes big lizards to destroy major cities. So next week is a big week for my channel. Firstly, the season finale of the Godzilla Gang will be going up on Wednesday, and this Halloween weekend you can expect a review of Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and a trailer for a new stop-motion series I'm producing. So thanks for watching, Zazubaar out.